The idea of rethinking the bench was really important to us. We felt that often you sit next to each other or back to back, and we wanted there to be more of a spatial relationship with this bench and one that you connect together.
Earlier this year, the LFA launched the 4th edition of the City Benches competition, a design competition in collaboration with Cheapside Business Alliance and Aldgate Connect Bid. The competition looked to transform Cheapside and Aldgate streetscape with imaginative and witty takes on much needed public seating. We caught up with each of the winning designers to find out the story behind the benches. Here, Nicola tells us about her bench, Conversation, made in collaboration with WebbYates engineers and the stone carving company.
My name is Nicola Barrington-Leach. I'm an architect and director of NVBL. We're an architectural office dedicated mainly to design, architecture, construction and research. The team is made up of Steve Webb from WebbYates, who is the structural engineer for this proposal, and from the stone carving company. And that's made up of Regis Chaperone and Anna Rees. And altogether we collectively collaborated on Conversation. Conversation is really a homage to the history of the material, but also to the exchange in the city of London. And so we started off very much with the site in mind and with the material in mind. So the design is really twofold. It's to celebrate stone craftsmanship and its natural architectural qualities. But we also wanted to create a space that was one of connection, because we felt like it's something that we've really missed out on this year. The particular stone has been generously supplied by the stone masonry company. And so that was one of the starting points, really, having the material provided to us so that we could design with it and provide a bench for London Festival Architecture. It's actually called limestone Massangis. It's from France. And we've used only offcuts, essentially, of pieces that they had in their site and they no longer needed to use. The idea is that we had a certain amount of pieces that we could choose from, and very much truly through a collaboration between us, the designers and architects, the engineer and the craftsman, we've worked out a method of essentially using a series of techniques to create a puzzle of pieces, only joints, that require no other fixings whatsoever. We love to work with natural materials, but stone is something that we're quite new to, but we're working with it on another project. But having said that, the team themselves have years of experience of working with stone. Steve Webb has been advocating it for years through a series of exhibitions and projects, and generally working with the stone masonry company who have provided us the stone. And obviously the craftsmanship of the stone carving company, they've been working for over 25 years with it. And so really the idea is to advocate the importance of it as a natural, low carbon, very efficient, durable, very sustainable material. The use of the material being one that's very sustainable and carbon neutral is essentially one of the key elements that make up the bench. For us, we wanted to really use this as a prototype to advocate the qualities and possibilities of developing stone design, but also talk about stone technologies and, in a way, really rediscovering the use of stone structurally in architecture, as it has been used for generations before. But we wanted to sort of celebrate that in its location as well. The location was really important to us because we felt that it has such a mix of materials as a whole, but also such a dynamic sort of use of the site between residents and commuters, and it can be very busy and very empty depending on the time of day or week. And so we were really excited about using the concept of bringing people together as one to create a dynamic conversation, and that was inspired by the 19th century courting chairs as a whole. So the bench provides very much an intimate space to basically bring strangers or acquaintances alike together and create a conversation. But the material also really reflects a moment so that you can touch and you can engage with the bench and the material and think about what's around you and potentially, hopefully, become more appreciative. The idea of rethinking the bench was really important to us. We felt that often you sit next to each other or back to back, and we wanted there to be more of a spatial relationship with this bench and one that you connect together and hopefully, spark a conversation or engage by catching someone's eye. And I think essentially it's very intimate, as one that maybe, we don't find as much as we should in the city and the public realm. And so being able to create a space that's actually very personal within a public setting is really exciting for us. The reason why we wanted to enter this year was very much because we could enjoy the process of designing it from concept. That was one element. And then really putting together a team and learning from them. So the whole process of collaborating with them and making it with them has been a total joy. But also, I think the idea of the brief, so the one of care, was one that enabled us to really think about the issues that we're facing in architecture today, and also the responsibility that we have, and how we wanted to, even in a very small way, think about how our role as architects could apply.
You've been listening to Building Sound. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to hear more of our recent conversation, search for Building Sound on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your favourite podcast.